Chapter 23, Horcruxes. Harry is running, not, I guess, on his way back to Gryffindor Hall. He can feel the effects of the potion wearing off. And like the last thing he felt was like the door was left open for him as he was coming back in. And after that, he felt like his luck was just gone. He went in to talk to the fat lady portrait, and she was messing with him, but he didn't know at the time. But she said the password had changed because it's midnight, and he's like, "Why the password changed?" All that stuff, and then um, he said I was supposed to be talking to Dumbledore, but she mentioned something about Dumbledore, and Harry asked, "Is he back?" And she said, "I don't know." And then Headless Nick, he came over and said, "Yeah, he's back. I heard from the Baron that he's back and in his office." And so so Harry runs off, even though the fat lady's saying that I was actually kidding. But he runs off to Dumbledore's office, goes straight in. Dumbledore says, "Open." He walks in. He says, "I've got the memory," and Dumbledore's like, "Oh, perfect." So they pull out the memory, pull it out real quick, drop it in the pensive, and hop in the memory. And in this memory, same memory you saw before, just with the gaps filled in. And as Voldemort is asking Slughorn about the Horcruxes, and he goes into detail because Slughorn's like, "This is very dark arts," and so the Horcrux is an item where you can put a piece of your soul into, and the only way to put a piece of your soul into this item is to murder somebody. That's the only way to put a piece of your soul into this item. You have to murder somebody. So Voldemort is very intrigued about this, and he kept asking about more, specifics. And he's like, "What if you can split it into 7 pieces?" He said 7 pieces because that's just strong magical number 7. And at that mention, Slughorn was like, "Hey, whoa," and Voldemort was like, "Well, I'm just being hypothetical." And Harry was just thinking about, how good Voldemort really was at manipulating Slughorn. He was like, he's actually doing a good job here. And this is like, Harry was actually kind of impressed how well he was, talking up Slughorn because he's giving him compliments as well as asking his questions. So Slughorn was like, "All right, I'll just keep telling him what he wants to know." And then he eventually stopped the conversation at some point. But pretty much Voldemort got all what he needed to know about making a Horcrux. And from here, then when Dumbledore took him out of the memory, they talked about the Horcruxes. Now, Dumbledore will go on to mention that according to theory, his theory is that Voldemort did make 6, and the 7th one would be himself, and that he made 6. So these ones will be obviously the diary will be one of them, the locket that they were talking about earlier, the cup from Hufflepuff, and the snake Nagini would be one of them as well, and the ring that he was wearing. So Dumbledore mentioned that was 5. The ring, the cup, and maybe one other thing that they haven't found yet. So that's what Dumbledore has been doing. He's been going to look for the other item that they haven't found. So maybe something of Ravenclaw or Gryffindor, but he knows Gryffindor, they have the sword or sword of Gryffindor, so it's not that. So probably something of Ravenclaw that has not been found yet. So he's like, "Harry, you already destroyed one of them," which is the diary. And then he said, "I destroyed one as well." And he mentioned this. That's the reason why his hand was all black and damaged, because when he destroyed the ring, it had a curse on it, so that affected him. And he was like, "I'm lucky that Snape was able to help me out with the curse, so I didn't lose my hand, but it was severely damaged." And he's like, and Harry asks, "When you find the next one, can I come with you?" And he was like, "You know what? Sure, you can come along." And Harry was like, "Oh, bet." So yeah, Harry's happy about that. Yeah, it's come along when he finds the next one. And he said, I'm getting close to finding the next one. And then he went into the prophecy and that like Harry's ability to love, like Harry's just nature himself is really the greatest weapon against Voldemort. And like Dumbledore was getting really animated as he was explaining this to Harry. He was really trying to get Harry to understand that he really is the one that will have to at least try to kill Voldemort, or it's going to be inevitable, basically. Because Voldemort, in not hearing the full prophecy, he only heard part of it. So in that, he really went on to, he acted on it prematurely. So he just wanted, obviously, one, Harry's mom and dad, to use them to make a Horcrux. And then he wanted Harry to be the last one because in the prophecy, it basically would state that, blah, 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 blah. And that Harry was going to be the one to take him out. But he didn't go over the rest of the prophecy. Now, if he had, he would have known that he just created his own worst enemy. And like Dumbledore was like, even if you didn't hear the prophecy, what would you still want to do? And then Harry thought of his parents, Cedric, Sirius, and he was like, I would want to kill him. And he's like, exactly. Dumbledore was like, exactly. You would want to kill him. And he's really just trying to get Harry to understand that even if it didn't go that way, either Voldemort would hunt him down to kill him and he'd have to defend himself. He would end up fighting him either way. He's just trying to tell him it's inevitable. You're going to end up fighting Voldemort either way. And it's either you go after him or he comes after you. And that is the only way, basically that's the only way you're going to survive and live in this world, further in this world. And exactly, because it was Voldemort's fault that Harry is in a but in the position that he is to be the one to take him out. Because Voldemort killed his parents. That caused, obviously, the love protection to be put on Harry in the first place. That's the reason why he couldn't kill him in the first book. And then, as it went on, obviously he couldn't touch him until he got his blood. And then that made Harry have to get stronger, obviously. And he couldn't kill him there. And as things went on, he's killed more and more of Harry's loved ones. But mainly Harry's ability to love and ability to he himself have the loving nature that he has is a big reason why he's the one best fit to take out Voldemort. Also why he couldn't take over his body in the last book was when Harry pointed out, that he doesn't have any friends, he doesn't have anyone to help him, to protect him. It's just him. And Voldemort did that to himself because his followers all love him, but he sees like his Horcruxes, his treasures. He loves them obviously more than anybody else. But anything to help his own gain is what he loves. And yeah, Dumbledore is really trying to get in Harry's head that you're gonna have to fight him. I'll help you, get ready, but you're gonna have to fight him. So yeah, Harry doesn't have to kill Voldemort because of the prophecy, but they're gonna end up in battle at some point, and one of them is gonna die. It might be Harry, it might be Voldemort, but one of them is gonna die. And that's just how it's gotta go.